Here in this great Tuklaka, which is blessed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, consecrated this great temple in year 2008. And here behind me on the throne, where His Holiness sat in year 2000 when he came here, gave great teachings to over 2,000 people, and when His Holiness was here over 9 days, that really, I always loved this photograph, His Holiness. So on this occasion, as you know, today is, according to the Western calendar, I think when you see the day he was born, in the Western calendar was, I think, the 6th of July. The Tibetan, according to lunar calendar, is the 5th day of the 5th Tibetan month, which this year coincided on the 21st of June. And there was a huge celebration and Tenshuk that happened in Dharamsala, attended by all the masters of the holders of the different lineage, leaders of the Tibetan Buddhism, and all the leaders of different communities. It was a huge gathering, a wonderful, inspiring ceremony, which I followed. Was very moving. But as on this occasion, I think he is somewhere, I think in California, that there is, I think, Peace Summit on Global Compassion. So on this occasion, the 6th of July, year 2015, we are here to celebrate His Holiness Dalai Lama's 80th birthday. This is particularly moving and meaningful for me that I can remember so vividly His Holiness coming to United Kingdom in October 1973 on his first ever journey to the West. In fact, he first came to Rome, where I had the great honor to welcome him. It was interesting. There was some mix-up about his pickup, and the Vatican had sent a limousine to receive him. Somehow there was a confusion. His Holiness ended up coming in a bus. And then, as he came there nearer, he saw me and Kungapala. Kungapala is his representative, and he was very tall. And I was very short. And I think Lerab Ling recounts that, because he was there, part of that entourage. And he's only seeing me just kind of someone he recognized, us. He greeted us warmly. I never forget that. So I had the honor and the blessing of playing a small part in arranging his visit to the West. After Rome, then in England, where I played kind of a small part. He came to also, I was then in Cambridge University, I was in Trinity College. His Holiness came there, stayed in Master's Lodge, and addressed the Senate, the huge gathering. It was amazing. There was so much people, a lot of enthusiasm. Dalai Lama was for the first time. I never forget the BBC World Service announcing that, when he arrived in Rome, he said that the Dalai Lama has, touched the, the ground here. It's a bit like almost as significant as when he came first into India in exile. I remember that announcement. So, that was more than 40 years ago. At the time, who could have imagined the impact and the influence that His Holiness was to have on the world. Just a few days ago, 120,000 people, mostly young people, at Glastonbury Festival greeted him with wild enthusiasm and joined together in singing Happy Birthday for His Holiness. This tells us how much, he enjoyed that tremendously. He really said it was really very touching and very warm, he said. Warm-hearted greeting. This tells us so much about him because he has become so known, so loved the world over as one of the greatest leaders of our time, as a champion of peace and non-violence, as someone who is deeply concerned about the big problems facing the world and who devotes his entire life to the welfare of the humanity. With his message of kindness, compassion, and universal responsibility, he has touched and transformed the lives of millions of people of any or no religion, rich or poor, young or old, and lit in their hearts a flame of hope, inspiration, and courage. People everywhere have warmed to him as he inspires so much love, joy, warm-heartedness. We all seem naturally drawn to his uplifting, optimistic vision of a more caring, fairer and saner world, because we recognize that the human values that His Holiness promotes of love, forgiveness, tolerance, and concern for others hold the key to the inner strength, confidence, and happiness that we are all searching for today. Acknowledging that there are many who do not follow any religion and deeply concerned by the stress and anxiety and depression and loneliness he sees all over the world, His Holiness tirelessly speaks of a universal secular ethic, a new way of thinking about spirituality and compassionate behavior. Instead of our usual us and them mentality, he says, the time has come for each one of us to start thinking and acting on the basis of an identity rooted in the phrase, we human beings. The essence of the message is that we can train our mind, heart, that is, to transform our attitude, the way of thinking, by training the mind in love, compassion, and so discover the inner peace and contentment and joy. This will naturally inspire us with a sense of universal responsibility and altruism. So His Holiness encourages us to be what he calls wisely selfish, because by looking after others, helping others, and looking after others, we discover that our own welfare is taken care of as a matter of course. The extent of His Holiness's achievement is simply staggering. For over 40 years, he has traveled all over the world. I think I was told 67 countries, sharing his message of universal responsibility and compassion. And is a leader who totally embodies his message. He has no off-duty personality. He is who he is, whether he is at home or at work. I will never forget his reply when I congratulated him for being awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989 in San Jose, when Rigpa had organized his extraordinary Dzogchen teachings, where His Holiness was invited. It was the first major event, public event that did after he won the Nobel Peace Prize. When I thanked His Holiness, his reply was that I consider this prize to be some kind of a recognition of my motivation and its sincerity. So essentially, the credit goes not to this monk Tenzin Gyatso, but rather to the sincere motivation of altruism. Every human being has the same potential for compassion. The only question is whether we really take any care of that potential and develop and implement it in our daily life. My hope is that more and more people will recognize the value of compassion, so follow the path of altruism. As for myself, ever since I became a Buddhist monk, that has been my real destiny. For usually I think of myself as just one simple Buddhist monk, no more, no less. Now he increasingly says, I feel myself just one among the 7 billion people of this world. He keeps saying that more recently. With these words, it is almost as if His Holiness is actually handling the Nobel Peace Prize onto us, offering it back to us, the people of the world, and to encourage us all to follow his example in his footstep and put compassion at the heart of our lives. On science, His Holiness has an extremely modern and forward-looking outlook. Thinking deeply of our common future, he has brought the wisdom and contemplative methods of Buddhism into close contact with science, medicine, psychology, and other disciplines. This revolutionary dialogue is already having a profound impact both in the East, even in Tibet, and of course in the West. And I know that it is going to produce far-reaching effects on society and on education and for our future generations on earth. As we saw at Glastonbury, His Holiness always reached out to the young people as he recognized that they carry the future of the world in their hands. This is why he is so concerned about education. He always says, I hope and wish that one day a formal education will pay attention to what I call the education of the heart. He means it will include inner values such as warm-heartedness, love, compassion, justice, and forgiveness. Then on disarmament, above all, His Holiness has always urged us towards taking action. Last week he said at the recent Nobel Peace Laureates meeting in Rome, he declared that the need to address the elimination of a nuclear weapon. He agreed that the time for just talking is over. We need to set deadlines for action and meet them. World peace, likewise, cannot be achieved by prayers alone. We have to take action. Then on environment, His Holiness has become one of the leading spokesmen for the preservation of the environment. He applauds Pope Francis' recent passionate call to action. His Holiness asks us, the earth is our only home. If we do not look after this home, what else are we charged to do on this earth? Likewise, the Dalai Lama has spoken out very strongly many times about economic inequality, the gap between the rich and the poor. He has called this a moral crisis that is responsible for world hunger and is due to the lack of compassion. In this way, His Holiness has become a spokesman for the poorer, for the powerless people of the earth. As a great spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama is a pioneer in building understanding between the faiths. and has attracted admiration, respect from the members of all faith communities. He has prayed in mosques, temples, synagogues, and cathedrals alike. He has helped to give Tibetan Buddhism its rightful place among the world's major religions. It is thanks to him that its science of mind and compassion practices have begun to take root so very widely in the contemporary world. For Buddhism, as a great Buddhist master, His Holiness has also ensured, strengthened the authentic living lineage of Tibet, which themselves maintain the pure Nalanda tradition, so they can thrive long into the future. At the same time, he has encouraged a spirit of non-sectarianism, inspired an open and modern outlook, an awareness of science and current issues among the Tibetan Buddhist leaders and Tibetan society. You can say, in fact, that he has integrated the modern thinking into Buddhism. He is also reminding us that Buddhism is not simply prayers and rituals, but is all about transforming the mind. For Tibet, as a Tibetan, I feel an infinite sense of appreciation, gratitude for the way in which His Holiness the Dalai Lama has helped us maintain our Tibetan identity, culture, and spiritual heritage, taking care of us Tibetans in every way imaginable. He has been our guiding light, our refuge during the most difficult period of our history. In fact, we can say he has dynamically shaped the Tibetan world in exile. All the great Tibetan masters have directed their blessings and prayers towards him. All the Tibetan people have placed in him all their aspirations and hopes. So with all my heart and with sincere devotion, I wish that His Holiness live for many, many more years in the very best of health. In fact, His Holiness doesn't look like he's 80. He just looks like somebody in his 50s or younger. A few years ago, when he had a minor operation, the doctor said that his internal organs looked like those of someone who was 30 or 40 years younger. Himself, His Holiness himself said that on many occasions. So he'll certainly live long, will be able to live long, because he exercises, he eats well, he practices well, and most important of all, he has the intention to live long for the benefit of Saint Jinping, especially the Tibetan people. He has to hold on to. And then you see what was very moving. He had a very close, deep link, of course, with all the leaders of the Tibetan Buddhism. He's very good connection with all the lamas, but especially with Chapter 3 Rinpoche. They offered teaching to each other. They were really close friends. And Chapter 3 Rinpoche very openly, very wholeheartedly made this incredible offering for his long life, offering 125 images of all the long-lived deities on a special long-life offering he made in Dharamsala. On that occasion, he actually made his own Dalai Lama's promise, and that His Holiness actually pledged he will live 125 years. But since then, he has said really more directly, practically, he said 115 or 113. But I pray that he will live 125 years, like Tangtong Gyalpo. That's why on this occasion, the Nyingma leader, when he offered the Tangtong Gyalpo image, he took it very specially, received blessing. So may he be blessed by the great Mahasiddha Tangtong Gyalpo, who lived to the age of 125. In fact, Tangtong Gyalpo was extraordinary. Nothing ever went wrong in his life. He was the most auspicious. May be blessed by him. I pray that he will see all his aspirations for humanity and for Tibet come alive and bear fruit one by one without any obstacle or interruption. I pray that during this lifetime or during this lifetime of His Holiness, he may return to Tibet. In fact, during that wonderful ceremony for his long life offering, on the 22nd of June this year, His Holiness Sogyal Rinpoche, he gave a very moving tribute to His Holiness in Dharamsala. And then he commented on the prayer composed by Dorji Chan Jampan Khyentse Lodri. Jampan Khyentse Lodri was my master, as you know. And His Holiness Sogyal Rinpoche really considers his master is Jampan Khyentse Lodri. He calls him Dorji Chan, the Vajradhara. Never calls him just Jampan Khyentse Lodri. He calls him Dorji Chan, Jampan Khyentse Lodri. Jampan Khyentse Lodri wrote this incredible long life prayer for His Holiness in the presence of this most holy image of Buddha called Sogyal Rinpoche in Lhasa. And what is incredible that actually His Holiness Sogyal Rinpoche said that. And his speech was very, very special, that speech. In that he said all the things that he said, all the things that were predicted, actually, it spoke of accomplishment of His Holiness, what will accomplish, will be. All that actually is realized. But one thing left to accomplish. He kind of predicted that His Holiness will travel to Potala, where he will enjoy a long life and serve all sentient beings. For me, says His Holiness Sogyal Rinpoche, this is a prophecy, because everything else in the prayer has happened exactly as Jampan Khyentse has foretold. So I firmly believe, says Sogyal Rinpoche, therefore that His Holiness will soon be able to return to Potala in Lhasa, in Tibet, and the Tibetan, both inside and outside, will come together, meet once again. For me, there's no doubt that this will happen very soon. We all pray for that. And also because now, at this time, we are faced with so many global challenges. So His Holiness's influence, His presence, His voice become increasingly important. His leadership more and more vital. For he embodies not only the highest hopes of the Tibetan people, but the deepest wishes of so many men and women throughout the world. With this, I wish him a very happy and inspiring and long life for His Holiness.